Hello everyone, welcome to Starting Science Age. Hope you are all doing great. And again, I'm here. So QA session, QA discussion on projectile motion. So the many students messaged me regarding the projectile motion solving numerical. So that is why it's a very short call. Let's say 10-15 minutes it will take. And we have already discussed a lot about the projectile motion and delivered a lecture recently. But still, some students, some exam is coming, so some students still have doubts about projectile motion. So the main thing is that regarding the equation of the projectile. Okay, so what is happening? You have two components of velocities of the projectile, right? Which velocity component you should take? This is my first thing. So the most students are asking, sir, sometimes I'm getting confused. So sometimes I'm taking the velocity along x, sometimes I'm taking velocity along y. So this kind of thing are basically happening. And obviously, what is happening. So also the sign convention, it is also an important point. So yeah, I'm just waiting for 1 minute, and after that, quickly I'll just share you a couple of points so that you can go through your textbook and also the lecture of projectile and your notes, so whatever you have. So after that, we can drop off, right? Yeah. So let me check. Is there any comment or is there any other thing that I need to check? Okay. So remember, I'm just, projectile motion is very interesting in nature. So why? In most of the daily life examples, there are certain examples in daily life. It is related to projectile. You can't believe. For example, water fountain. Water fountain, it is the example of projectile motion, right? When a football is kicked in the air, so we all do loving watching football, right? So whole night we are watching football, correct? So during World Cup, and but did you ever wonder that it is a perfect example of projectile? Yeah. So sometimes actually it is we are really getting confused which is projectile, which is not projectile. Simple definition: whenever an object is launched in air, it becomes a projectile. Why? Because only one force is acting on the projectile, that is the gravitational force exerted by Earth gravity, that is acting. Now coming back to the couple of points that my students are asking. First thing, okay, I'm starting now. Okay, so I think give me 1 minute. So I have messaged someone is messaging me in my group, and they are saying they are not able to see this live video. Yeah, yes, they are now able to see. Okay, fine. Two things. First thing, when an object is launched in space, let's say projectile, now it becomes, as per the vector rule, its velocity can be resolved into two components, along x and along y direction. Simple, clear. Along x, it is known as x cos theta. Y, it is x cos theta or u cos theta. So we don't need to explain this because it is a very simple concept. And along y direction, it is u sine theta, right? So u is the initial velocity of the projectile. Clear? Now, second thing, along which direction I should consider the motion of the projectile. When it is launched, I should only consider along y direction. Why? This is one of the most important topic or concept most students are struggling, where particularly solving numerical. Why I should consider along y direction, not along x? Because when a projectile moves in the air, there is no external force along x. There is no force acting on the projectile along x direction. The only force is acting the gravitational force or the acceleration due to gravity g, that is along y direction, that is vertically downward. It is exerted by earth, right? So this actually, this you have to consider. This you have to consider. Otherwise you cannot solve numerical. So what I said, when a projectile is in air, it is moving, right? It's a parabolic path. Along y direction, u sine theta, I have to take u sine theta. Remember, recall the equation of motion. Okay, so v is equal to u plus at, v is equal to u square plus twice as, and a is equal to ut plus half of at square, right? But as I said, there is no acceleration or the external force along x direction, hence the acceleration is zero along x direction. Only along vertical direction the acceleration is working. And what would be the sign of that acceleration of the projectile? Our original acceleration is working vertically downwards, as we know, but the projectile is launched against gravity, so minus sign. Put acceleration equal to minus g. Clear? Then you have to use the equation u cos theta along x cross right u sine theta and minus g, right? Based on this, you need to measure the time of flight, the maximum height achieved by the projectile, and the horizontal range. Now the interesting thing comes while calculating the horizontal range. What is that? So horizontal range means displacement along x direction. So if I want to consider the displacement, if I want to measure the displacement along x, then why should I consider along y direction motion? So in this case, when you are trying to measure the horizontal range, how much it is traveling along horizontal, along x, in that case, you have to use the equation u cos theta. Ux is equal to u cos theta, right? Because along y, there is no motion. Only the motion we have to take along x. Because we are taking displacement, right? Distance along x. Because the projectile was launched from the ground. After certain times, it comes back to the ground again. Then the initial reference and the final reference are becoming same, right? So, and we are measuring the distance. We are measuring the distance along x horizontally. That is why we should not take the y direction motion. Obviously, I should take the ux is equal to u cos theta. And obviously the external force is zero along x, the acceleration is zero. Only then the velocity component u cos theta I need to take, u cos theta I need to take, right? Simple concept. That is the main problem is that the whenever the IIT joint entrance exam numerical comes, or NEET, whatever, wherever your board exam numerical comes, or any competitor exam, competition exam is there, then what you have to know. So I think there's some lagging behind my internet connection. So okay, yeah. So what is happening? So for example, the projectile is launched from a certain height. Projectile is launched from the ground. So accordingly, we need to decide which equation you have to take, right? If it is launched from the certain height and it is falling, right? It is falling means now you have to take the direction, because it is now along the direction of the force of gravity. So accordingly, you need to take the x direction motion and along y direction motion. But always remember, while solving projectile problem, you have to take u sine theta for measuring time of flight and the maximum height. And for when you are calculating the horizontal range along x, then you need to take u cos theta component, right? And obviously the initial, okay, so now the thing is that Sometimes it is also important than to identify the nature of the projectile motion. Like, so it is a parabolic, right? So the water fountain or the football is kicked or the ball is just hits a six or over boundary, whatever, it moves in the air, right? So it is a parabolic, right? So parabolic path means, what is the equation we know, right? So we have to express the equation in terms of y direction motion and x direction motion. So if you want to express it, then obviously you can see, right? So the equation becomes the parabolic equation. But for that, you have to measure the time first. And before that, your basic concept should be cleared from the laws of motion, from the motion chapter, force and laws of motion. Because in certain cases, you have to apply the concept, the time of flight, because time of ascent equals to time of descent. So the time taken by the projectile to go to the maximum height equals to the time taken by the projectile to reach the ground from that maximum height. So T1 plus T2 is equal to total T. Clear? So see, you do not need to read again and again. If you understand the concept, then your solving numerical would be more easier. And we understand that it's a very time limited, right? For any exam, any competitive exam. So it is very crucial to complete on time. That is why it is highly imperative that you first write all the required things and analyze. Don't get confused with the other things that I should do that, I should do that. Basic thing you have to be in mind, you should keep in mind that the projectile, when it is launched in space, the acceleration is negative. We have to take a is equal to minus g. And u sine theta is the term. Why u sine theta? Now you are resolving it. So along x and y axis. So it is a trigonometrical identities, right? So u cos theta. So cos theta, what is the cos theta? So you need to remember a few trigonometry identities, right? So it is base upon hypotenuse, right? And what about the sine? Perpendicular upon hypotenuse, right? So these are the couple of things you have to remember, and you have to also remember a couple of the value of cos and sine. For example, 45 degree, 60 degree, 30 degree, 90 degree, and sometimes they are also given 77 degree, 37 degree. So basically you need to actually remember a couple of values of angles. But however, don't worry. So I think it should be given in the question paper itself, right? So yeah, that's I think I wanted to share these things actually on projectile motion. And if you have any question, or just drop me in the comment space, or just tag me and post your question. And I think this is clear, okay? Because we are not here now from in whiteboard. We are not explaining now the derivation of the projectile, because it is already done. Okay, it is only the things that when I should consider which equation, okay, which velocity component, this is the most thing, and when I should consider the what should be the sign of the our acceleration, and y acceleration along x0. If you remember this couple of concepts clearly, then solving numerical on projectile would be much easier than you are having now. Okay, so yeah, so I think tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I'll be bringing some other topics on. Some students are asking about the multiple reflections and also some numericals on spherical mirrors, right? Let me check once if and in the meantime there is also some concept on, there is some queries came on magnetic effects. So yeah, so I'll periodically I will bringing those concepts. Let me check actually. So based on the priority and the volume of the questions and the queries, so tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I should bring and those things to the live. Okay, and before ending live, another very important that final exam already going on for a couple of boards, and it is yet to come Therefore, lots of students have lots of tension, stress, anxiety going on. How to remove that? How to remove that stress? I'll come actually maybe after maybe tomorrow I'll come with a discussion how to remove stress, how to stay calm without any anger. Okay, how to stay positive during your exam time because it's a very crucial. Lots of pressure coming on your head. Parents are telling, yeah, you should do that, you should do that. एक क्यों नहीं किया आपको ये 90% मिलना चाहिए 79 out of 100 आना चाहिए. Why you are not doing that, we are not doing that, so what is the problem? So there are many things. So it is going through students mind, and sometimes we skip those things, right, as a teacher or as a tutor. So definitely we have the prime responsibilities that we should understand our students first. what mental pressure what mental pressure is there in their mind. So because in their board exam it's really some, because see, we are not so you know we are, our all the fingers are not equal, right? So our brain, our thinking, our mentality, our attention to detail, everything is not equal, right? So every student has their own value, right? But the thing is that we have to understand what is going on in their mind. So are they tensed? So if there is I have one student, for example. So that student have some really exam phobia. Okay, he has exam phobia. Okay, whenever he enters in the exam hall, he actually forgets many things. And see, so if he forgets, then what would be his mental condition then? So we need to deal with very tenderly. So so we need to give the extra support, extra care, right? So it is not like that I should so let explained and done, it is not like that. We have to understand each and everyone's attitude, or the 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 self realization, and you can say the their what you can say uh, what it is going on in their mind, right? So we have to understand as a being parent, and also as a tutor, and also as an elder, right? So it is very important. So sometimes because of a lot of stress, they are not able to focus. It is totally the things now it's becomes negative. So then the lot of pressure is happening on their head. Yeah, so we have provided a lot of facilities on your head, but still you are not able to score. So because of the cognitive mind, it is not working with equally. So that will come actually how to remove stress and how to stay calm and keep maintain a particular distance from each other, so from the others, so that you can really perform well in the exam. Okay, so I think I should now drop up from this live. And yeah, so again we'll come maybe live on tomorrow, that I was saying a couple of times back. So with a new concept, let me check the priorities first, and I'll be bringing the things. Okay, so thank you for joining, and yeah, so don't forget to like Steins, yeah, and keep engaging, and bye bye, take care.